Hello. It's been forever since I've recorded a video. I apologize. Life gets in the way, my depression gets in the way, and things just fall off the radar. So it's been at least 3 weeks probably, and a lot has happened. So I will do my best to recap without repeating stuff that I've already said because you're probably bored enough already. Anyhow, 3 weeks ago they turned on my VNS and they changed the amplitude, which is the strength of the pulse, from 0 to 0.25, then 0.5. We ended at 0.75. And now that I think about it, I think I did record a video. It felt like tickling in my throat. And after 3-4 days, I got used to it, so it wasn't terrible. Then a week later, I went back in, and then they increased again the amplitude to 1.0, which is a little more intense, and then 1.25. And when you're in the clinic, they change it so it's on for 15 seconds and it's off for a minute, so you get a chance to feel a bunch of versions of it. So they first went to 1.0 and we left it there for 5-10 minutes. They actually had me hooked up to an EKG so they could see what my heart was doing, and then they go in and turn it up to 1.25, same thing, let it sit there for a while, had a conversation about this, that, and the other thing, and then they eventually will change the setting, turn it off, then wait 3-4 minutes and watch your heart, and then they turn it on, but then they turn it on for the real, on for 30 seconds, off for 5 minutes. So the whole thing took about an hour. And I was traveling for business the next day, so I was a little worried about it because this setting of 1.25 was much more noticeable for me, and I felt like more self-conscious about my voice in that it was shaky. I didn't end up using my magnet, and I made it through. My brain eventually adjusted to the sensation, and after a week, I would have described it as like a little muscle spasm in my throat. But it's amazing how fast 5 minutes goes, and B, how fast 30 seconds goes. So it was very tolerable by the end of the week, and I was, okay with this setting, and I was feeling good because that 1.25 was the minimum clinical setting that the doctor wanted, so I was already there. So last week went in and they did more adjusting. This time first they increased the amplitude to 1.5, and it was a little more noticeable, much sharper, kind of more harsh, and that was fine. But then they changed the ohms, which is the frequency. So little did I know, I had been at 10 ohms all the time, and because the clinical trial is going to put me at a randomized number between 10 and 30, they want to make sure that I can handle 30 because apparently it was more intense. I had no idea what to expect. So again, they were on for 15 seconds, off for a minute, changed the ohms to 15, and it was quite noticeable. It's like, wow, that's, I couldn't tell that the wave was more condensed. Apparently the time between pulsing is shorter, therefore the frequency designation. But anyhow, then we went up to 20, and that was even more noticeable. And I really, really, really noticed how it impacted my voice, and it almost took my voice away. And so did that for a while, and then finally went up to 25, which again was more shocking. And it did feel more intense, like they had turned up the power, but it wasn't that at all. It was just the different frequency. So we talked about it and decided to leave it there. And when I left, I wasn't, again, quite sure how I was going to react and how it was going to impact me, but I was thankful it was over the weekend. So I had some time to adjust to it before work on Monday, which is now. Anyhow, so you can tell it just turned on. This is the second time it turned on. Maybe you can't tell, but I can sure tell. It feels like I'm out fighting for breath. It feels like I have a harder time forming words, and it sounds different to me in pace and also in intensity. But again, it's amazing how fast 30 seconds goes, because now it just shut off. And I do have a little, hoarseness carry forward, but my voice comes back. So the other thing actually that happened, I think, since I've recorded a video, is my voice overall has recovered from the surgery. And so I feel like I have my normal voice back, aside from when the device is going off. So this week, on Friday, I'll go in, and again, they will change the frequency or ohms to 30 and may increase the power. Well, that's the plan, was to increase the power to 1.75, maybe 2. However, sometimes with 30, they end up reducing the power. So here I thought I was good to go, but we may end up going backwards and do 30 ohms with 1.25 as the power setting. It just depends on how I feel, how I react. They did say that there were some people who really struggled, and when they were at 30 ohms, they were at 0.5, which actually is outside the clinical settings that the doctor, the Haas, wanted. So I said, does that make their data unusable? And they said they don't know. They're still figuring all those things out, and there is also the possibility of that person becoming accustomed to it and being able to increase the power. What's interesting is that normal titration is done over months. Sometimes people are at the same setting for a month or 5 weeks, whereas I'm doing it within 1 week because of the study. They want to get us up to the appropriate amount in a shorter period of time so that they can conduct their research and get the information they need to on a more parity level. It doesn't make sense, but more apples to apples in a shorter time frame, so apparently. So that's why they do this. I actually kind of prefer it this way because I know they're like constantly changing it. So it's not like, oh, I've gotten totally accustomed to this, and then all of a sudden they change it. Then it's like, that would be more shocking. But if every week they're changing it, it feels more expected. So my brain is not fixating on it. And I've been very, very careful not to obsess, not to look at the clock, not to pay attention to it, because I don't want to give the power to my brain to start resenting the VNS, because that would totally sabotage any potential benefits from receiving it. So I'm taking it as an entirely neutral, out of my control, just gonna happen for the rest of your life kind of a thing, and you just need to get over it. So it's worked out quite well, I think. Obviously, haven't really felt any benefits from this, but it's been 3 weeks. Not supposed to for 4 to 6 months, but I'm not going to discount or overanalyze the situation. I'm just going to take it as it comes. They did do more questionnaires before and after my visit that I had to do online, and as well they did an assessment, multiple different assessments, and maybe someday I'll cover what those are, because they're actually quite intense and not very much fun to answer. They're very similar to Madras and some other ones, but they're more customized, I would say. The same person would do them each time, and that they will get to know you and know how to compare one answer to another, even though it may seem similar. They'll ask follow-up questions to give them more information. So anyhow, I don't know, this has probably been too long of a video, but I wanted to document my voice and what's going on. Obviously, again, not obviously for me, obvious for me, it's going off again, and so I feel more struggling to talk, but it's certainly doable. I think I might have to use the magnet if, in fact, I'm having a phone conversation. I certainly don't want people to wonder what's going on or ask questions. Of course, I don't mind that in general, talking about it, but there are certain people that there's just too much information. They're not interested in hearing about that. So yeah, that's about it. I hope you aren't bored out of your mind, and I hope you're having a great day, and I will try to record another video sooner rather than later, so it's not like it was 3 weeks. Okay, bye.